This is Radio Chatskill. I'm Patricia Robayo. Evan Shearer is back today with her Eating Upstate segment in which she talks to local restaurant owners about their food and bev adventures. Today she's profiling the Cochecton Fire Station located in the tiny hamlet of Cochecton's historical fire station. The building was renovated by owners Joshua Early and Zeke Miller.
The Cochecton Fire Station is located in a decommissioned firehouse in Cochecton. Since its opening in 2018, they have offered elevated comfort food and craft cocktails. Its owners, Zeke Miller and Josiah Early, bring 2 decades of experience in the hospitality industry to their operation. Zeke Miller and Josiah Early have been friends since their childhood in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. They first moved to New York City in 2000 and spent the next 15 years working their way up New York's hospitality scene. Over time, however, they found that scene becoming increasingly exclusive.
We both got really tired of how snobby it had gotten in New York City, and, most of these bars were, you got they're either in tuxedo shirts with bow ties or doing some sort of a self-aggrandized version of something that when you do it for a long time, you realize that there's essentially 5 cocktails that were ever created, and everything is just basically a riff on that. And in New York City, it started taking itself so seriously that the majority of our customers were other bartenders or cocktail enthusiasts, and we stopped, in the early 2000s, we felt like we were introducing people to a way of drinking that was really new, with fresher ingredients, better stuff, more quality products, introducing them to better spirits than they had normally been drinking. And doing it in New York City, it stopped having that fun. And we started up here in about 2004, just, as weekenders up here. And when we decided to open the fire station, it felt like to us we could get a chance to do that again. Okay. And in being an area where, we were going out and getting drinks and seeing that most of it was Jack and Cokes and, vodka tonics and things like that. And we thought, I think this area would be really fun to do what we did in the city, but make sure that this time we do it without any of sort of that mystery around it. Let's not wear tuxedo shirts with bow ties. Let's wear T-shirts. And instead of talking about how sophisticated and complicated it all is, make the recipes understandably simple but delicious.
Though they had been making weekend trips to the Catskills since 2004, they decided to make a permanent move in 2016. Making a fresh start, they started a bar consulting company, The Horse's Mouth, creating bespoke cocktails for clients like Hennings Local and Bethel Woods.
Even helping people with their home bars and, anybody that needs help kind of figuring out how to stock their bar, how to figure out how to get the right ice machine. We recently helped Chatskill Provisions, and in that we just kind of helped them set up their bar and tried to create the right cockpit for their bartenders.
Yeah, just more bar design when they were building their new bar.
Yeah, and we did some things with Bethel Woods. We hosted a couple of events at Bethel Woods. They titled Mad Mixology, where we went through sort of American history and how it relates to cocktails and how they actually sort of intermingled with each other, from, feminism and women's lib and the suffragette movement all the way up to the sort of post-World War II and then hippie-era counterculture, and how alcohol played a large part in all of those sort of changes in American history. And then we did another one that was just focused on mezcal. People have gotten really excited about that spirit, and besides knowing that it's a spirit from Mexico, they weren't that versed on how it's made, who makes it, the communities, the areas in Oaxaca where the agave grows, the agave plant itself. And so we did people would come to get an education while drinking.
They discovered that Cochecton's old firehouse, which had been decommissioned in 2012, was up for sale, and they bought it for a reasonable price in 2016. Zeke and Josiah saw Cochecton as a prime location that was often overlooked but had a lot of potential.
When we were looking for properties, what drew us to Cochecton, Aaron, was Sullivan Renaissance. I kept seeing all the places that were getting grants from Sullivan Renaissance in the paper, and for whatever reason, Cochecton was the one that was always left out. And so we started to narrow our focus on Cochecton, because it was like, why? Cochecton's a big, by area, it's one of the biggest townships up here. Why is everybody ignoring it? And how can we focus on it? Yeah, how can we bring some of that focus back to it, and as opposed to the other places that are already getting the glory up here?
Yeah, and I mean, ironically, it's just positioned halfway between Callicoon and Narrowsburg, and they were drawing a lot of people. And we just saw that this road, County Road 114, right in front of the fire station, just had a phenomenal amount of traffic. And whenever you see that many cars driving by on any given day, and they have no reason to stop in that town, you think, all right, well, that's an opportunity.
Though the building came with a professional-grade kitchen, they set about gutting and renovating the place.
It came with a kitchen.
It was a space that was, the whole building was broken apart and put back together by us. But, there was a space for the volunteers to cook some stuff. A kitchen is being generous. But yeah, it was just a space where they hosted events and, did stuff for the community. It was a community-focused, it was a volunteer fire station that had a place, an engine room for the engine, and then had a separate space for the people to come and gather.
And have their spaghetti dinners and whatnot.
Yeah, that's right.
The restaurant incarnation of the Cochecton Fire Station opened in 2018. Henning Nordanger created the food selections based on suggestions that Zeke and Josiah had solicited from the community. The input they sought led to some interesting and creative ideas.
Well, we all worked together when the Western was being redone in Callicoon, and after we all left that, we were all consultants and had just a 3-month commitment. And after we left that, we did Henning's menu, his cocktail menu at his restaurant, and then he came and helped us with our menu at the fire station. And the whole idea was so it's a fire station, we have a wood-fired oven, but we didn't want to do wood-fired pizza. And so it was kind of like, Henning, what kind of food would you cook in front of an open flame? And really, it just needed to be food that could come out, one, relatively quickly, was affordable, and, again, fell into the parameters of the stuff we'd been hearing from our community. And so a lot of the menu wasn't necessarily decided by Henning. It was, filtered through decisions, things that we heard from the community they wanted to eat, and then really relying on Henning for his expertise in flavors to get all of these seemingly simple dishes to really pop. And we could not have done that without him. Zeke and I are from Virginia, and we had never heard of an egg cream. We didn't know what it was, but we kept asking people what we should put on the menu, and mainly the older generation kept saying, oh, you got to bring back egg creams. Egg creams, they were great. We had them when we were kids. And so Zeke and I did all of our research, figuring out what egg creams were. Don't use Fox's You Bet syrup. It's basically sacrilege to the original egg cream. And we asked everybody the proper way to make it, but still to this day, you'll have some person say, oh, you're putting too much syrup in it. Oh, you're not putting enough syrup in it. Oh, that's too much milk. Oh, it's not enough milk. And everybody has the way that they originally got their egg creams in New York City, and now they expect that version, but I guess all of the places in New York City had made them all differently. To me and Zeke, it's a delight. But what we do love seeing, though, is that the older generation, like grandparents, are bringing their grandkids in and reintroducing them to this sort of delight they had as a child.
Yeah.
And it's bridging a generational gap, and that tickles us to no end,
Zeke and Josiah source locally as much as they can, but they remain coy about naming specific farms out of a fear of excluding people they deem to be important. Until recently, though, They offered a $5 menu and a not $5 menu, which turned into a $6 menu and a not $6 menu. Recent inflation brought an end to that format, however.
The prices of everything have skyrocketed. It was actually originally $5, not $5. More than half of our menu in the beginning was $5. You could actually order the entire menu. In the beginning, you could order the entire menu, and it was $99 if you ordered every single item on it. And many people did that. And we were thrilled that we could achieve that back then. But to put things into perspective, one of our popular items on the menu is our crispy chicken thigh. And we used to be able to get chicken thighs at 79 cents a pound. And now they've gone as high as $2.79 a pound. So, and that's just one item. And in restaurants, I think it's funny because it's not just how much the things cost and how much that's gone up. It's whether you can get them or not. Weekly, what's available changes.
Even if you want to pay the extraordinary price for it, it's not available. You just can't even get it if you're willing to do it.
Last week I could not get jasmine rice. There was a flour shortage at one point. And every time we think that those things are about to stabilize, more bad news comes. And right now with the sort of inflation recession fears, that's probably only going to exacerbate the matter. Every single thing that we can possibly do locally, we do. This is sort of a boring answer, though. It's something that would lead us into regulations and laws. There are things that, it's funny, there are things that happen up here, like specifically in farming, that it's easier for New York City to buy their products than it is for us to get their products. And we always bring this, maybe you should put an entire radio show to that. It's harder to get beef from cows that are in your backyard than it is to get it from someplace further away because of the way it's all regulated.
But in addition to that, we do live in such an abundant area that it's every single thing that we possibly can, we get it, within 10 minutes.
And we'd love to shout out all our local vendors, but at risk of missing one and taking 5 minutes to list all of the ones that we use, we're very blessed. There's a lot of growers, makers, artisans up here that make our job very easy.
This past March, they reopened the dining room, which had been closed for 2 years due to the pandemic. This past year has seen Zeke and Josiah branch out into other endeavors.
We opened last year in September. We opened our liquor store, Cochecton Spirits, which had always been part of the plan. Our hope was always that, bars would be a place where if I turn you on to a whiskey or a gin or something that you really liked at the bar, that I could send you next door to my liquor store and you could grab a bottle there. So we finally realized that part of our plan last September. Coming up here in mid-September, we're going to celebrate a year of our liquor store being open. And in the same vein, we're trying to highlight everything local that we possibly can in our liquor store, and then really kind of all of the underdogs. Most people come in and their joke is, I don't recognize a single bottle on the shelf, and that's not by accident, it's by design. There's giant marketing campaigns that you pay for when you get a bottle of booze that you recognize. And there's all of these small mom-and-pop operations that don't have that kind of marketing budget that are relying on guys like us to help promote their product for them. And we enjoy that opportunity. And we believe the customers really like it too, and especially when I can get you something that's better than you normally drink for less money. It's a win-win. Mm-hmm. And that's the sort of vision of Cochecton Spirits, and it's, two houses down from the fire station, so it's working out perfectly.
The Cochecton Fire Station is located at 1 Depot Road in Cochecton. I'm Erin Shear. Eating Upstate has been a production of Radio Chatskill.